Abigail had always dreamed of living in a grand estate, surrounded by opulence and elegance. So when she received the position as the new governess at Blackmoor Manor, she couldn't contain her excitement. The grandeur of the place took her breath away as she stepped foot into the magnificent Victorian mansion. Little did she know, there was a dark secret lurking within the shadows of the estate. Her employer, Mr. Ashcroft, was an enigmatic man, rarely seen in the daylight. Rumors had circulated in the village that his wife had gone mad years ago and was locked away in the attic. Abigail dismissed these whispers as mere gossip until she heard the cries that echoed through the manor's hallways late at night. Each night, as Abigail lay in her bed, she would hear the sound of footsteps creaking on the floorboards above her. Whispers, like sinister secrets, would float down the corridors and seep into her room. Fear clenched her heart, but curiosity gripped her soul even tighter. Determined to uncover the truth, Abigail ventured up to the forbidden room. The door groaned beneath her touch as she slowly pushed it open. Inside, a dismal sight awaited her. The room was filled with dust-covered furniture and dim flickering candles, casting a haunting glow. But it was the figure huddled in the corner that made Abigail's blood run cold. Mrs. Ashcroft was a mere shell of the woman she once was. Her hair was wild and knotted, her once beautiful face pale and distorted from years of isolation. The room was filled with the writings of a woman driven to madness. Scribbles covered every inch of the walls, revealing a tale of gruesome past and twisted desires. As days turned into weeks, Abigail found herself unable to escape the haunting presence of Mrs. Ashcroft. The woman's eyes followed her everywhere, filled with malicious intent. Abigail's sanity began to unravel under the weight of her own fear. In a desperate attempt to free herself from the clutches of Blackmoor Manor, Abigail scoured the library for any clue that could lead to the truth. It was there she discovered a hidden diary, filled with pages of Mrs. Ashcroft's darkest thoughts. The diary spoke of a sinister pact made with the devil himself, and of her insatiable hunger for the life force of others. Abigail felt a shiver run down her spine, realizing that her own life force had become the target of Mrs. Ashcroft's twisted desires. Determined to protect herself, she hatched a plan to confront the deranged woman once and for all. That night, as the whispers and footsteps resonated through the hallways, Abigail stood before Mrs. Ashcroft's door, her hands trembling. With a deep breath, she pushed open the door to face her darkest fears head-on. The room was empty. Mrs. Ashcroft's figure was nowhere to be seen. Abigail's heart pounded in her chest as she realized the trap she had fallen into. In the dim light, she caught sight of a reflection in the mirror. Her own face contorted with madness, her eyes filled with the same sinister intent that Mrs. Ashcroft had once possessed. She had been the pawn of a deranged mind, caught in a web of twisted desires. The whispers grew louder, echoing in her head, as Abigail realized that she was now forever bound to the dark secret of Blackmoor Manor.